Welcome to the Foundry by Forge College. All right, let's get straight into it. So, in our last lesson, we really got under the hood examining block size handling, right? We specifically looked at how SegWit introduced this incredibly brilliant accounting trick to separate legacy data from witness data. But look, a blueprint is just a blueprint until you actually take it out into the real world. So today, in this explainer, our goal is to transition from those abstract protocol rules to hard, observable data. We're going to learn how to actually measure network speed and throughput improvements on the Bitcoin network, and more importantly, how to do it without getting completely fooled by all the noise. Here's our schematic for today. First, from mechanism to measurement. Second, core throughput metrics. Third, roadways and packing crates. Fourth, real-world metric application. And finally, synthesizing throughput signals. Starting right off with Section 1, from mechanism to measurement. Okay, check out this patent-style blueprint we've sketched out here in orange ink. Notice the foundational unit anchoring our new measurements, the virtual byte, or vbyte for short. Now, we already established that SegWit totally changed the game by heavily discounting witness data, which, remember, is basically just the digital signature data attached to a transaction. Well, because of this massive discount, a block's payload isn't just about raw bytes anymore. The virtual byte really becomes the foundational unit for all our new measurements. It literally proves that raw data size isn't the whole story. I mean, if we can fit way more transactions into the exact same raw byte footprint because of this discount, we desperately need new instruments to measure that extra throughput, right? Which brings us to Section 2, core throughput metrics. Let's look at our dashboard. You know, you probably hear people throwing around TPS, transactions per second, all the time on social media. But honestly, if you only look at raw TPS, you are missing the massive capacity shifts delivered by SegWit. Why? Because TPS completely ignores the physical size of those transactions. That is exactly why we need VBS, or vbytes per second, to show us the effective data throughput. Then we've got block weight utilization, which tells us how fully miners are exploiting the available capacity. And finally, the witness share. This reveals the true impact of the SegWit discount, basically how much of the block is actually taking advantage of the upgrade. You really need all four of these metrics working together to get the complete picture. And the absolute crucial point here is this massive number, 4 million. This is the hard block weight limit in Bitcoin, 4 million weight units. Miners are constantly playing this crazy high-stakes game of Tetris, just trying to pack a block to the absolute brim, hitting this limit to maximize their fees. So block weight utilization measures exactly this. What percentage of this 4 million limit is actually being filled up by the network right at this very moment? All right, moving into Section 3, roadways and packing crates. Let's make this a bit more concrete. Imagine blocks are fixed-length road segments, and the transactions are the vehicles driving on them. In this model, legacy data represents these massive, heavy semi-trucks just hogging up all the lane space. Witness data, on the other hand, thanks to SegWit, is like a highly compact little trailer that gets an easy pass toll discount. If you only measure TPS, it's like you're just standing on an overpass counting cars. You have no idea if they're 18-wheelers or little mopeds. Now, let's shift to the packing model. Think of blocks as shipping crates with a strict weight limit. Witness data represents highly compressible goods that get a shipping discount. This perfectly illustrates how we can stuff way more discounted goods into the exact same crate without making the crate any larger on the outside. Pretty neat, right? Okay, put your blockchain detective hat on for a second. If you observe higher TPS but constant vbytes per second, what exactly is happening on the network? Well, using our mental models, if you see way more vehicles passing your toll booth, but the overall lane occupancy stays exactly the same, you can deduce one simple truth. Either the vehicles are getting smaller, or users are packing their shipping crates much more efficiently. The network is doing more actual work without taking up any extra physical space. So let's jump to Section 4, real-world metric application. How do we actually apply this out in the field? Well, you can't just look at a single block because mining variance is incredibly noisy. I mean, one block might take a minute, the next might take an hour. To find the real truth, you must compare sustained time windows. Step 1, pick a baseline window. Say 7 days of data right before a major shift or upgrade. Step 2, pick an observation window of the exact same length after the change. And step 3, compare the aggregates. You want to look at your average TPS, your average vbytes per second, and most importantly, the average virtual size, or V size, of the transactions themselves. Now, here are a few pro tips for your real-world application, straight from the advanced learning modules in our Forge College programs. First off, try to align your measurement windows to multiples of 144 blocks, which is roughly 1 day on the Bitcoin network. This naturally smooths out that pesky timestamp variance. Second, look at sustained percentage changes, not just a random single-day swing. Third, always cross-reference your findings with fee and mempool metrics. For example, if the average fees per vbyte drop while your TPS increases, well, congratulations, you've just spotted a genuine capacity expansion that is directly benefiting the users. But hey, always watch out for confounding events, like major cryptocurrency exchanges changing how they batch their transactions. Sometimes a massive spike in efficiency isn't a network upgrade at all, but rather just one massive player finally cleaning up their messy packing crates. And finally, Section 5, synthesizing throughput signals. Let's bring it all together. This right here is the million-dollar question. When TPS and vbytes per second decouple, meaning one goes up while the other stays flat, we really have to look closely at the witness share. We need to understand, are regular users building smarter, smaller transactions, or are miners simply changing their policies to hunt for heavily discounted transactions to maximize their profit? Here is your ultimate decoder ring. If you see the average V size of transactions dropping while the witness share rises, that equals user packing gains. It means everyday users and wallet developers are actually changing how they construct transactions to take advantage of SegWit. But if the average V size stays static, yet you suddenly see a higher witness share and more transactions per block, that points to a miner priority shift. The miners are actively skipping over the big, clunky legacy trucks and giving the fast lane to the compact, witness-heavy trailers. Decoding these specific signals tells you exactly how the Bitcoin ecosystem is adapting to new scalability rules in real time. The next time you look at a blockchain explorer, you aren't just looking at random numbers anymore. You're reading the real-time behavior of an entire global financial network. To prep for our next explainer on synergistic effects, go grab some 14-day data on transaction counts, V size, and witness bytes. And I'll leave you with this to ponder. If both users and miners optimize their behavior to the absolute limit, where exactly does the network find its next massive leap in scalability? We'll dive into that soon. This explainer was made by Forge College. Be sure to visit forge.college to explore more courses, keep exploring those metrics, and we will see you next time.